Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about the light. What is meant by light? Light is external factor which affects the eye, causing the sense of vision. External factor means come from outside, from many sources such as sun, and we can consider the sun is the main source of light on earth, and other sources like electric lamp, candle, and so on. What is meant by vision? Vision means seeing, and as you know that we can see without light. Now we'll talk about the properties of light. Number one, wave nature of light. Light waves are electromagnetic waves. What is meant by electromagnetic wave? I mean they don't need medium to propagate, or they propagate through vacuum, or can say free space. We can say they can transfer in the presence or absence of light. Of medium. Not look like the sound, which need medium to propagate. Number two, light waves are transverse waves. I mean they consist of crest and troughs. Speed of light. What is meant by speed of light? V, which represents speed, equal distance over time. D here represents distance, and time represents time. What's meant by speed of light? It is the distance covered by light in 1 second, which equal 3 times 10 power 8 meter per second, or you can say 3 times 10 power 5 kilometer per second. Both of them are equal. The next point is the visible light. What is meant by the visible light? I mean with visible light, the light that can be seen. This means what? This means that there is light that we can see it. Like what? Like here, gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, infrared, and the visible light. Visible light means it is one of the components of electromagnetic spectrum of wavelength ranges between 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, which are called visible light. Then we'll talk about the analysis of white light. What's meant by analysis? Analysis means splitting or separating of white light into 7 spectrum colors, called spectrum colors. How can we prove that? If we put a compact disc, or can say CD, on a table whose shiny surface faces sun rays or any other source of white light, we will observe the formation of 7 colors, and this is why this is due to the analysis of white light into 7 colors. So we can say white light analysis into 7 colors. White light consists of mixture of 7 colors, which are known as spectrum colors, and these colors are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. We can do that practically by using a tool called glass prism. This is called glass prism. When white light falls on a triangle glass prism, it is analyzed into 7 colors, which are, as we said before, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Property number 3. Light behavior through different media. Light transmits through different media with different degrees, or you can say media can be classified according to their ability to allow light to pass into 3 types, which are number 1, transparent, translucent medium, or opaque medium. Let's talk about the first one, which is called transparent medium. Transparent medium means it is a medium which permits most of light to pass through it, and objects can be seen clearly behind them. Like what? Like air, transparent medium, pure water, glass cup. If we put any object behind them, the object can be seen clearly. This is in case of transparent medium. We can say here, give reason. Air is a transparent medium for 2 reasons. Number 1, because it is a medium which permits most of light to pass through it. This is number 1. Number 2, because object can be seen clearly behind it. Here we can see the fish clearly behind the glass container, because glass is transparent medium which allow most light to pass through it, and object like fish can be seen clearly behind it. Another example, this cover, we can see the finger clearly behind this cover because this cover is transparent. I mean this medium can allow most light to pass through it and objects can be seen clearly behind it. Number 2, translucent medium. We can see translucent medium or semi-transparent medium. What's meant by translucent medium? I mean it is a medium which permits only a part of a light to pass through it. Like what? Like number 1, flint glass, number 2, tissue paper. And object can be seen through them less clearly than transparent medium. Example for that, like this flint glass. We can see the object clearly behind it because it's transparent medium. Another example, this cover. This cover is semi-transparent, or we can say translucent, because object can be seen clearly behind it. The third type is opaque medium. What's meant by opaque medium? It is a medium that doesn't permit or pass the light to pass through it, like plant leaves, milk, wood, metals, black honey, and so on. If you put any object behind any one of the opaque medium, we can't see them because they are opaque, where the object can be seen behind them. Here, very important point. By increasing the thickness of the transparent medium, the quantity of the light that passes through it decreases. So, if the thickness increases, this means that the quantity of the light that passes through it will decrease. And this is why we can see the fish at the bottom of the river Nile. Here, very important reason. Although water is a transparent medium, but we can see fish at the bottom of the river Nile. Why? Because as the thickness of the water at the point or at the bottom is large enough to prevent light from passing through them. This is example for opaque medium. Another reason. This cup is opaque medium because it doesn't permit light to pass through and object can't be seen behind it. Here we have 3 cups which explain the 3 types of media. This one represents semi-transparent, and this represents transparent, and this one represents the opaque one. Another property for light traveling in a straight line. Light travel in straight line whose thickness can be controlled as application for this phenomena, formation of shadow. Now we are going to talk about another very important topic which is called light reflection. What is meant by light reflection? It is the returning back of light wave in the same medium on meeting a reflecting surface. The surface at which the reflection takes place is called reflecting surface. According to the reflecting surface, we can classify light reflection into 2 types, which are regular reflection and irregular reflection, or you can say uniform reflection and non-uniform reflection. Firstly, regular reflection. It is the reflection of light rays when they meet a smooth and shiny reflecting surface, where the incident light rays are reflected in one direction, like in this case. Like in case of any smooth surface, like mirror, like stainless steel sheet, or thin sheet of aluminium or foil paper. And as a result for that, we can see our images through them. The second type is called irregular reflection, or you can say non-uniform reflection. It is the reflection of light rays when they meet a rough reflecting surface, where the incident light rays are reflected in different directions, like in this case. So here in these 2 pictures, A and B, which one represents regular reflection and which one represents irregular reflection? A represents regular reflection. Give reason: because the incident light rays are reflected in one direction. But in case of shape B, the incident light rays are reflected in different directions. So this represents regular reflection, and this shape represents irregular reflection. Now we'll talk about the laws of light reflection. But to know the laws of light reflection, we should know some basic concepts that related to this point, which are: number 1, this ray represent incident light ray. This one, incident light ray, and this represents the reflected ray. What's the difference between the incident light ray and the reflected one? Incident light ray, it is the narrow light beam which is represented by a straight line and it intersects with the reflecting surface. This represents reflecting surface, and here the reflecting surface is shiny and smooth, which represent mirror. So what is meant by reflected ray? It is the narrow, this one represents the reflected ray. It is the narrow light beam which is represented by a straight line that is reflected from the reflecting surface at also the point of incidence. This point represents the point of incidence. This line in the middle between the incident light ray and the reflected one is called normal. We can say normal or the perpendicular line. The angle here between the incident light ray and the normal is called angle of incidence, and the angle between the reflected ray and the normal is called angle of reflection. What is meant by angle of incidence and angle of reflection? We can say the angle of incidence, it is the angle between the incident light ray and the normal. What about the angle of reflection? It is the angle between the reflected ray and the perpendicular line to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence. Here, another example for the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. And this plane mirror represents the reflecting surface, and this one represents a incident light ray, and this one the reflected ray. And the angle which exists between the incident light ray and the normal is called angle of incidence, and the angle between the reflected ray and the normal is called angle of reflection. And now let's return to the laws of light reflection after knowing this concept. The laws of light reflection. Number 1, the first law, angle of incidence equal angle of reflection. This means what? This means if the angle of incidence, for example, here we have the reflecting surface and the incident light ray, this is point of incidence, and here the reflected light ray, and if we make here normal, this one represents angle of incidence and this angle of reflection. If I told you that angle of incidence equal 40, this means what? This means that angle of reflection equal 40. Why? Because the first law of light reflection, angle of incidence equal angle of reflection. Another example. If I told you this is the reflecting surface and this one the incident light ray, and this one the reflected light ray, and here the point of incidence, and we will put here the normal. If I told you that the angle of incidence equal 20, this is angle of incidence. What about angle of reflection? Equal 20 also. Give reason. Because angle of incidence must be equal angle of reflection. Here, what happens when the light ray is incident on a plane mirror by angle of incidence equal 45? Here, the lights will reflect with angle equal 45. Give reason. Because the angle of incidence equal angle of reflection, and this is the first law of light reflection. Here, very important point. What happens if the light ray is incident perpendicular to the reflecting surface? Here, the angle of incidence will be 0. The angle of reflection will be 0. And the angle of the incident light ray and the reflected light ray and the normal are above each other. This means that the angle of incidence equal 0 and the angle of reflection equal 0. So if I told you, give reason, the incident light ray which falls perpendicular in the reflecting surface reflects on itself. Give reason. Because in this case the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection equal 0. The second law of light reflection said what? Number 1, the incident light ray, the reflected ray, and the perpendicular line, you can see the normal, to the surface of reflection at the point of incident all lie in one plane perpendicular on the reflecting surface. Again, what is meant by the second law? The incident light ray, the reflected light ray, and the normal all lie in one plane perpendicular on the reflecting surface. Now, I will give you a question. If I told you that here this is the incident light ray, sorry, it is the reflecting surface, and this one is the incident light ray, and here the normal, and here the reflected light ray. If I told you that the angle which exists here between the incident light ray and the reflecting surface equal 30 degrees, calculate the angle of reflection. You know that this angle or this angle equal 90. This angle equal 30. This means that angle of incident in this case will be 60. And you know that angle of incident equal angle of reflection. This means that the angle of reflection will be also 60 degrees. And now, what are the laws of light reflection? The first law, angle of incident equal angle of reflection. Number 2, the incident light ray, the reflected light ray, and the normal all lie in one plane perpendicular on the reflecting surface. And now this is all for today. Thank you.